Hi everybody, I wanted to make a little pre-clip before this video starts. You may notice in this video that I seem to look down and pause, for reflection and contemplation of my thoughts. This is me actually trying to receive gnosis, trying to receive guidance for exactly how I should speak about the energy that's going on. I did have Lilith come to me in my mind before I made the video, and I realized that it was the absolute perfect energy for me to bring in and talk about, but I didn't really feel the full gnosis until the end. So that is what's going on in this video, and I thank you for your understanding. Yeah, we're done. Jade, this is my hat, not yours. Yours is in the closet. Hi everybody. Welcome to my channel. Sabrina the Witch here. I am a shamanic witch. And if you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you very much for coming back. Today, we have a new dark moon heralding a new constellation. I am going to put this video in a playlist which will be entitled Dark Moon and the Constellations, I think. So that I'll have a series of 12 videos with a short discussion on the dark moon for that month. I think I've made 3 so far. I've talked about dark moon in Leo, and then I talked about dark moon in Virgo and how it was affecting me. It was all about the body and what we put in our body. So now, in the Western world, the dark moon is heralding the entrance of the constellation Libra. This is a much more airy sign. It is more intellectual. And it does correspond to Venus, which is about partnerships of all kinds. Where Venus was corresponding to Taurus and the 5 senses and beauty and appearance, physical appearance, this has much more to do with an intellectual understanding of aesthetics, beauty, skincare, the body. And so, I mean, if you've already started that journey this last month with Venus and Virgo, you might be entering a study of nutrition or possibly aesthetics. It also has a lot to do with inequities. It has to do with fairness and having an equitable, fair relationship that's harmonious, whatever kind of a relationship it is. So if you're forming a partnership or you're in a partnership, this might be a month where you have to examine or have some truths come out regarding some inequities in your partnership. Now, Astarte is said to be a dark moon goddess or a dark goddess. I have found her to work with many different phases and transits of the moon. But she's said to be the queen of heaven. So this is a time where you can connect to the stars in a very strong way, as I have said now several times, because on a dark moon, on a moonless night, the stars are very clear and bright. So if you go out and you look for a constellation or you stargaze for 30 minutes or more, it can be a very clearing energy. Star energy is very powerful. And when you work with star energy, it can not only clear the mind, but if you were to, say, use a lemon or carve it into a piece of jewelry, it can serve to actually override negative aspects in your chart. So if you're having difficulty breaking out of a relationship that you have allowed yourself to stay stuck in due to low self-esteem, low self-confidence, religion, family, whatever it is. This would be a time for you to think about the star energy on this moonless night and the theme that is going to be continuing for the next 28 days approximately. And that is the truth and the wisdom about partnerships, fairness, and inequities. It has to do with the legal system, and it can be something minor, it can be something major. There could be a marriage, there could be a breakup. But ultimately this has to do with you deciding what is going to be true and healthy and good for you as an individual. No relationship should be one-sided. I had a teacher one time who said something about a relationship that is being, if one is agreeing with the other one all the time, someone is being controlled. So are you allowing yourself to be controlled? Are you constantly trying to not rock the boat? My sister was in that kind of a relationship until eventually she started having some serious issues, and she realized my mind is shutting down. I'm obviously not happy. I can't even feel anything with intimacy anymore. And it was really all about her fear of being alone. So, it can be better when you're younger to realize these things, but we don't know what's going to happen when you're older. If you break up when you're 50 or later on. If the lesson you had to learn was that you need to learn how to be alone in your own skin, then you're going to find ways to really be alone for the rest of your life. Now, that doesn't mean you have to live alone. You could have a roommate, but you're not in a committed relationship with someone. And you can have friends, and you can have pets. And my sister has all those things. Now, Lilith is here because Lilith is a moon goddess who works in tandem with Astarte. She's said to be her right hand or her handmaiden. Now, someone just asked me a question about that the other day. She felt a connection, but she had gotten information from a man in a book that she liked. And so when he said, Lilith and Astarte don't get along, she got confused. So after our back and forth a couple of times, I said, listen to what you were feeling and talk to Lilith. Ask Lilith, ask Astarte. Go to the source. Spirit will tell you. And then she said, thank you for your help. So, yeah, these are both moon goddesses. And I really feel like Lilith is very much connected to the air, whether she is strong or easier to connect during Aquarius or in Gemini. For me, my friend came over, I believe it was in the month of June. And there was a gust of wind. I talked about this on a video. It was a strong gust of wind. And in my book, I have here by Gail Wood, Rituals of the Dark Moon, she says, dark moon in Aquarius is a breeze. In Gemini, it's a breath. In Gemini, it's a breeze. In Libra, it's a storm. But I've experienced it as a strong gust of wind. it blew the tarot card off the deck and my pen off the table. And this was after I received gnosis from Lilith before my friend came over. And I had been listening to her in on the TV from a video. They're both moon goddesses. And I feel like Lilith, I think Lilith might be very, very good and strong in Libra because of her strong energy regarding being treated fairly and being heard. One of the stories in the mythology is that she left Adam because he didn't want to honor her request. He didn't want her to have equal time. And she refused to be subservient or be in a relationship where she was going to be less than and not heard. She wanted a friend. She wanted a partner. And if you're not a best friend, you're not partner, someone's being controlled. And that's the truth. So, this is an energy that can be very challenging for some women. But I've heard that if you can learn the lessons that Lilith has to teach you in this life, you may not have to come back to try to learn those lessons again. So I have a picture here, and I put this candle. I do have a black onyx, which I've talked about that I use to put in front of her. I think it's a good idea to say positive affirmations as well, because if there are some ugly truths that are going to come out this month, and that's a big part of Libra, this is the person who is a judge. This is the truth. This is wisdom, and it has to be acknowledged. So this is where you're going to talk to yourself. I listen to my body. I listen to my feelings. I acknowledge my feelings. I cannot ignore what's been going on anymore. I have strong self-esteem. I have strong self-confidence, and I have a healthy self-love. So that's a thing that can happen for females this month in navigating relationships that, when they used to be equitable and now things have changed. Now, I have found burning incense is a very powerful way to really get the presence of the spirit to come. And they love to feed. You can see that incense actually just going to the flame and just feeding off of that flame. I really feel like this helps them come around, whether you see them or not. And I was not doing that the day that I was waiting for my friend who was going to tell me about how she was not being heard. I was just listening to her end, and then I felt this gnosis come over me. And it was, the message was, the real evil is when they call us unreasonable and wicked. That's not fair. That's a domineering sentence to say to someone right there. I don't have time for you. Okay. Where's the love? So if you don't have the incense and the candle, you can chant the N. But I did make a Lilith incense. I've got a resin, I've got organic roses, sandalwood, and patchouli in here. And my friend loves it, I love it, and I do have that available on my shop. And I'm probably going to be working with her a lot this month. If you can look at your astrology, I think it's incredibly helpful to look and see where Lilith is in your chart. You want to look specifically for Black Moon Lilith. I've come to see 3 of them in my chart, and I'm starting to feel like she's a triple dark moon goddess. So Astarte and Lilith are both moon goddesses. Lilith is more the shadow aspect. She's just mostly air. But, you know, yeah. I haven't seen anything yet come into smoke. But I worked more with Astarte. So they do go together. They are both moon goddesses. As I've said, all of the spirits of the Goetia are lunar. And almost every magical operation requires the participation and the cooperation of the moon in this trickle-down system we live in that starts at the stars. It ends up coming to the closest heavenly body to Earth, which is the moon, and it goes through the moon and then manifests here on Earth. So this is going to be the theme for the next 28 days. If you decide to work with Astarte, or you decide to work with Lilith, or both, be prepared for some insights and some real truths and some real wisdom coming to you, because we are entering this darker phase of the year, which is the beginning of the crone, the life experience, the older woman who's gained more wisdom, gained more knowledge. And for me, I have Black Moon Lilith in my 2nd house of finance. I've made several videos about this, and I've been able to overcome some fears I had adopted from my mother, as well as a few other things about how I spend my money and how I'm going to work towards making my money in the months going forward. I feel a wonderful sense of Lilith wanting to work with me at this phase in my life, where I can share with other women, like I did my friend. You are not wrong. Okay? If you're not compatible, you're not compatible. I don't care, you know, that you have 4 or 5 things that you get along with, but then there's three things in particular that constantly happen within the home that are disrespecting. You're not being heard. There's no acknowledgement of it. No statement of being aware and making an effort to not ignore some requests that are not unreasonable ever again. So it can be a difficult process to realize that things have changed. I can tell you she has recently decided not to be the acquiescent one in the partnership. She's a very strong, independent woman. However, I found out that, not only did she agree to live here, which was a state closer to his family, when hers are much, much farther away, but she's also adopted his religion so that the family had cohesiveness. And this sometimes comes from our generation, the culture that we live in, and the family that raised us, our role models, and the choices that they made. You are not anybody else. You are you. Look at your astrology. Listen to your body. Keep a journal. And I will talk to you again throughout the month on this particular theme and how it's manifesting for me. If you want to share, you can share down below, and I will see you soon. Take care.